We're joined by Deputy Editor of Men's Health, and you got some insights on email. What do you want to talk about?
Right. So, nowadays everyone feels like we're just inundated with emails. They kind of distract us from what we're doing. They follow us on our phones, our Fitbits. Really, they're all over the place. And so, one of our editors, Andrew Daniels, decided to spend one day making email his top priority. So, any email that came in, he would see it, read it, reply to it, and just sort of see what happened, how that affected his workday.
Isn't that just called like Tuesday?
Yeah.
That's what I do every day.
Do you reply to every single email you get? Because in the case of Andrew, out of an 8-hour workday, he got 3 hours of regular work done. He spent 5 hours responding to these emails. Keep in mind, we work at a magazine, we get a lot of pitches.
Yeah.
However, Adobe did a study, or a survey rather, and they took 400 white-collar office workers and found that on average, people spend 3.2 hours a day on their email. So that's the average person. That's not an editor. So it's
I feel like
staggering.
in many offices, that's become the job. You're just answering emails. Like, that's your function.
I think that's absolutely true. Like, I spend way too much time answering emails, but I think what you're getting at, which to me resonates quite profoundly, is that it just leaves less time to do real thinking, real thought work, like actually, pushing yourself to come up with new ideas, new investment ideas, push your company forward, think about your org, whatever it is, you get trapped in this circle.
Well, you know what I do sometimes? I love doing my own decks. I still love doing decks, whether it's the board deck I'm doing or a deck for a client, and sometimes I'll work in a deck for like 90 minutes straight. And I'll just have Keynote on my screen, I won't even look at my email. And that's an amazing exercise. That's when
But that's a perfect example of like a deck is a great mechanism for forcing you to think about like how you want to tell a story,
yes, exactly,
how you want to think about your strategy, etc. I like doing decks too. I just prefer when there's somebody else actually doing the deck.
No, I like doing it. I mean, I'm actually
find
really
the
big.
minutia of the PowerPoint.
I like big pictures and a few big block. I think you never go smaller than 24
so
points.
you do the Jack Dorsey deck.
Yeah.
I understand.
Jack,
well, then I love doing
we're
decks.
very similar.
You basically surf the web for photos and write 4 words.
No,
on it.
I use charts and graphs. And
oh, you do?
We put in elements that we have.
Do you do all the charts and graphs?
No, I don't do that myself.
My wife is
Brian does that, yeah.
So
my
then what
wife
are you
shouldn't be doing
about?
decks anymore, but she's like, she can't stop. She loves the deck
It's not a great
too.
use of time building the charts, though. I think you figured
all right, what else
out.
you got on this story?
Well, the thing with email, though, is that those 3.2 hours, so obviously that's a lot of time on average, but that's not the only time that your email is actually stealing away from your productivity. So 2 interesting studies here. First one from Michigan State University, and they found that when people were distracted from a task for just 2.8 seconds, when they returned to the task, they made twice as many mistakes as the control group that was allowed to just focus throughout. Now, when that little Outlook notification pops up on your screen, how long does it stay there for? Maybe 2-3 seconds?
Yes.
There you go. Now, the other study from UC Irvine found that it takes us around 23 minutes to fully immerse our brains on any given task and fully focus
All right,
after a distraction.
speaking about focus, you got something on coffee for us, too, you want to talk about, right?
No.
Liam misinformed me.
But I had some coffee right before and it was great.
What's that, Liam? What?
The benefit from coffee.
Benefits of coffee? Your benefits of coffee article?
There are several benefits of coffee.
All right, he doesn't know. All right, one last thing before we go, okay? Mo is a bit of a fashion plate, a fashion expert. Mo, do you think that this goes with that? Can you do check with lines?
Not only can you,
should.
But it's encouraged.
There you go.
And from a man who's wearing a line jacket with a kind of flowered shirt, I think, mixing patterns is something you're very comfortable with.
Do you know how
John.
hard it is? I haven't worn this jacket.
Who dressed you this morning? That's what I want to know.
The stylist,
clearly you did not dress yourself.
got me the jacket and the shirt.
You have a stylist.
The stylist got me all this. We have a
Do you know
stylist
what?
does
I have an
everything.
unfair advantage. I sit right next to the Men's Health style team. These guys, they tell me everything.
But this jacket's hard to find to work with anything.
Mixing patterns, both in home design, in decor, and dress, is actually, if you do it correctly, can be exceptionally powerful.
This jacket that you're wearing today looks kind of cheap, to be honest with you.
How do you define cheap?
It just looks like it looks like something. It looks like.
It looks like a lighter cotton jacket. I'm not into my deep
jacket.
It's the same tailor that I told you last time, Says Servant, this little boutique in Soho. They actually moved to the Bowery now, and I like their cotton suits because they're super light and they're a little more casual.
They make nice shirts too.
Yeah, they do. They do.
All right, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, all right. Our next guest tells us why her company keeps landing on Fortune's 100 best companies to work for. But first, we had Tough Mudder here yesterday, which, by the way, this is a big business, Mo.
I do know the size of the business. I want to know if you would ever go on Tough Mudder.
So here's what we're going to do.
Men's Health must love it.
You love Tough Mudder?
Oh, yeah.
We actually just partnered with with Rugged Maniac. So we have our own racing series.
Oh,
I see.
I know how it goes.
They're the Facebook of Men's Health.
I know.
Well, no, you know what? Men's Health started the obstacle racing trend in the US 10 years ago with our urban athlon race. So now we've evolved. We have 30 different locations with Rugged Maniac.
All right,
got
and
the talking points
and
down.
you know what? I invented financial news. So how about that? Okay. All right. Okay.